Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me again on True Crime with Jess Rose. And I've just realised you can see Groot here. So yeah, True Crime and a Marvel fan. Tonight it's a little bit different, this one. I do find the crimes with children quite hard. I will admit, I do find those ones quite hard. But tonight I'm doing something different. It's when the kids themselves are the killers, and it's actually from a show called When Kids Kill. And this one really played on my mind when I watched it. And it's a lady by the name of Angela Wrightson. Such a sad story. Basically, Angela Wrightson, she was a 39-year-old lady who 3 years previous had moved to this area and with her partner, and her partner passed, and I don't know if she drank beforehand, but it certainly escalated when her partner passed, and she just got really lonely and vulnerable. But all their neighbours and and people they interview on the show all say, she was lovely. She was really nice. She'd always say hello to people and give you a cuddle and stuff. But at the same time, she was an alcoholic. She was an alcoholic, and she drank from morning to night. And they've said that at times, people would be walking down the road and she'd be lying in the middle of the road, obviously drunk and not able to stand up. And very, very sad, very, very sad. And like I say, Angela was quite lonely, and to combat this, she started entertaining younger kids. Now, like I say, she's 39, and the kids she'd have in her house were, your teens, your early to mid-teens, who couldn't go to the shop and buy their own alcohol. So she struck up friendships with these kids and called them schoolies. That was her nickname for them. And basically, she would buy their drink and their cigarettes, etc. And out of that, she got, some of them would give her money so she could get her drink as well. And she got company. I don't know why she couldn't, they all say she was such a lovely person, so I don't understand why she didn't have any adult friends. But anyway, she became that house that teens would go to, and that person that would go to the shop for them and get their drink and get their fags. And they were using her, which is quite sad for that. But in a way, she was kind of using them in a way, for the company and stuff, which is really, really sad. Well, there was two girls that were friends with Angela, and I can't say the names because there's an anonymity. I can't say this. Anonymous means, oh, it's terrible. They had an anonymity order, an anonymous order. There we go. I'm going to stick with that anonymous order for their names not to be mentioned. So we'll call them Girl A and Girl B. I can't believe I've just done that. Girl A and Girl B. Now, Girl A was 14 and Girl B was 13. And like I say, they'd struck up this friendship with Angie. She'd go and get their drinks. She'd go and get their fags. Now, Girl A, who was 14, came from a really, really rough home, rough upbringing, violence in the home. She was violent, and basically she was in care. And Girl B, who was 13, so it said not as much as a violent upbringing, but she became a handful. She became too much for her parents. Both girls had met in primary school and gone on this path together. It was kind of them against the world in care and against their families. And, they were quite a rough pair of girls for Angela to have around her. Angela was very fragile. I know I said she drank a lot and stuff, but she lost her partner, she lost her way, and she was only little. She was 5'4", 6.5 stone. She was only a little woman, and you know, they started to take advantage of her. And so it brings us up to the 8th of December 2014, and girl A had gone to see her mother that day, and her mother had actually swore at her and says, you know, why don't you go and kill yourself? I mean, she's 14. Why would you say that to your own child anyway? You know, problems or violence or not, that's your daughter. And not only have you put her into care, but then when she comes to visit you, you tell her to go and kill herself. You know, no explanation of why, or, you know, it's just said that's what was said to her that day. So she goes off and starts drinking cider and taking prescription tablets, and eventually later on in the day she bumps into girl B, who has also been drinking, and she was on a 3-litre bottle of cider. So we know they went to Angela's, and we know that on a lot of this is caught on CCTV, a lot of what happened on this evening. And you see Angela Wrightson, and she is tiny. She's tiny. She looks a lot older than 39, I will say. You know, it does look like she's had a rough time. And you see her on CCTV at the local shop buying these litres of cider and cigarettes, and I think she grabbed some sweets for the girls. You know, they're 13 and 14. She's buying them sweets as well as alcohol. You know, and you see that. Well, this is before 8 o'clock. Now, 8 o'clock, girl B, don't forget the younger one, puts up on Snapchat what has become an infamous picture. And it's both girls and Angela. Angela's at the far end of the photo, and all she's written on there is one word, nah, N-A-H, so like, nah, slang for no, obviously, and 2 kisses. And why the picture is infamous is the 2 girls are looking really happy with themselves, you know, smiling. We can't see, because like I said, because of the anonymous order, we can't see the girls, but who you can see is Angela, and she's already got marks. Her face is swollen. There's a cut there. And that's at 8 o'clock. Now, for the next 2 hours, Angela was beaten mercilessly by girl A, the 14-year-old girl. There was 12 different blood sites in the living room where they say she was carrying and begging for her life. And I say they say it was girl B with girl A egging it on. She was hit with a TV set. She was hit with a kettle, a coffee table, a shovel. There was a stick with nails in it, a table leg. And you see all these items, and the items all got blood on them. I mean, the TV set's really chilling. It's only like a little TV set, but it's got blood all over it. The shovel. You know, it's anything this girl could get her hands on in the living room. Aside from that, Angela had been stamped on. She'd been punched. She'd been slapped. This poor woman for 2 hours, on the timeline, the same roundabout, the 2 hours, was just beaten mercilessly. No reason. There's no reason for this. You know, she didn't. It wasn't said that she'd gone at the girls, or, you know, they were defending themselves. This was a night of kicks for these 2 girls. That's what this was. This was a, come on, let's do some damage. And Angela actually had 124 different injuries on her. 124 in 2 hours. You know, she begged for her life during this time. And Emma Kenny, who is the expert on, she's in a lot of shows, Emma Kenny is. I think she's amazing. And she says that it was like the girls were taking the frustrations of their life, especially girl A, and the violence she'd seen, and they were just taking it out on Angie. She slowly became less human and more just an object for them to destroy, actually physically destroy. Now, they know it was 2 hours, so like I say, at 8 o'clock she was in the shop. Before 8 she was in the shop. At 8 o'clock the Snapchat picture went up. At 10 o'clock, 2 girls knocked on the door and came in to Angie's, and it's reported that they looked around, probably from the doorway, seen it was trashed. One of them's gone, someone's trashed the house. They couldn't see Angie, who was obviously carrying a corner somewhere, and the girls hid, girl A and girl B, they hid when they heard them coming to the door. Don't tell me they didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know what we were doing was wrong. They're hiding. So these girls just leave, which is such a shame. Would they have helped? You don't know. You don't know. Could it have made it worse, these girls coming in? I don't know. But yeah, the girls just leave. So at 11 o'clock, girl A and girl B leave Angie's, and they go and visit a friend, and they're covered in blood. Both of them have got blood on them. And when they were questioned, I think they talked it away by saying, we fell over drunk, or, however they explained it, it was believed, and the friend, thought no more of it. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, now Angie's been on her own since 11, that's 3 hours. They returned to her house, and they actually say the reason they went back was to see if she was dead. Actually, to go back and see if the damage they'd done had done the job. And, they go back, and they stay in the blood-soaked flat for 4 hours, and they say that Angie was either, at that point, dead or she was dying. And in that time, there was no remorse or anything. They've walked back into the situation, nothing snapping their head to think, oh my God, we did this. What have we done? No. They sit there and chill for another 2 hours with her dying. At this point, she's naked from the waist down, Angie's. But the expert on there said that she might have well done that herself, but she might have lost control of her bowels or something, so she might have tried to maybe change herself or something. I don't know, but she was naked from the waist down. They found bits of gravel from outside in her private areas. They found ash in her ear, where they'd been flicking their cigarette into her ear. Oh God, this poor woman, this poor, vulnerable, lonely woman who'd done nothing to anybody. 7 hours, all in all, they believe she went through this. She went through this torture and mutilation, and there was an utter disregard for her body, for her. They desecrated her. They desecrated her body. That's what they went out to do. They went out to desecrate her body. This poor, and like I said she was 5'4", 6.5 stone. They said there is defensive wounds as well. So she tried to defend herself against these girls. And it said that throughout the ordeal as well, girl B, the younger girl, was making calls on Facebook, and it was her saying, Brea, which I think's a term that, killer so-and-so, whatever the girl, girl A's name is, encouraging it. And they say she was the stronger of the two, although she was younger and she was only 13. She was the influence over girl A. Girl A was kind of the muscle, if you like, the bigger of the two, the older of the two, and then you had girl B, who was only 13, but was behind it as such. That's kind of what they think. So at 4 o'clock in the morning now this is what I mean about the no remorse and so and so. They try phoning their care home, because they know by this point it's 4 o'clock in the morning. These girls had been going missing from their care home. This was a weekly thing, or a nightly thing even. They'd been reported missing 20 times in the past month or so, you know. And once again, they've obviously gone off, and they know they'll be reported missing. They'll know they'll be down as missing from the care home. And they phone the care home, can't get in touch with anyone. Phone a taxi won't take them. And eventually they phone the police, which is something they had a habit of doing. They've just murdered somebody. They've just murdered somebody in her own home, and the woman's there dead. They phone the police to take them home. And on the show, you hear the phone call. You see a lot of CCTV with them walking back to Angie's. You know, when I said they walked back at 2 o'clock, you see that. You see the Snapchat pictures, and you hear this phone call of the one onto the police. It's like I say, because the anonymous order, their voices changed on there. It's made to sound deeper and stuff. But they're laughing. They're laughing and joking and going, where's the police? We're cold. Can you come and get us? They were clever enough not to phone outside Angela's. They didn't even do it on her street. They did it round the corner. All these things added together, you know, just like, no one's mentioned premeditated or anything, but it wasn't an impulse thing, was it? Really? And yeah, they phone the police, and you, like I say, you hear the call, and she's like, "Oh, I'm cold. Can you tell him to hurry up?" And she's laughing. The operator's like, "What's so funny?" And she's like, "You're a bit funny." Very childish, teenage, stroppy responses from someone who's just murdered a woman. It's just, then you see the CCTV of them getting in the police car. Then a selfie goes up on Snapchat again, for however many times that night, saying me and blank in the back of the busy van again. Brilliant. Very early the next morning, luckily, I'm so glad she was found quickly. Angela's landlord finds her, phones the police straight away. He said he walked in, there was blood everywhere, like the living room was destroyed. I did say there was 12 different blood sites where they could tell she'd been carrying, and you know, trying to get away. I don't know. And the landlord had to see this and see Angie half naked, dead on her sofa. I mean, you can't imagine how that landlord would have felt walking into that. Well, when they get back, girl A and girl B, to their foster parents' homes, they're covered in blood. They're both covered in blood. And the foster carer raises the alarm because of all the blood on the clothes. I think it's girl B, the younger girl. And when they go to arrest girl A and they look at her room, she's got pictures, and you see the pictures, very childish pictures in the drawing of them. But what's being drawn is her stabbing somebody. She's got a smile and they haven't. And it just, when I seen the picture, it just so remote. Bar there wasn't someone else in the picture as well. It reminded me of the Snapchat picture that they put up where they've written out, and you've got them two and Angie in the background, obviously looking terrified. You'll have to see it. I will put a link in. It's just, your heart goes out, because you know what's going to happen when you see that photo. You know how that progresses, and to see her sat there, you know, you want to say, get out of that flat. And you know, the 3 hours that she was on her own, they left at 11, they come back at 2. Those 3 hours, you know, could she have locked the door? Could you know, what the state they must have left her in, that she couldn't even lock the door to stop them coming back. It just doesn't bear thinking about. So they go to Leeds County Court, the girls do, and they both deny murder. they both deny it, and reporters state that, you know, they look very young in the dock, they look very scared, they look very, you know, in awe of everything going on. But it wasn't bought. It wasn't bought at all, because the jury had to see Angie's injuries. They had to see the Snapchat pictures and the CCTV footage of them strolling and looking like no bother in the world, going back to Angie's, the woman they'd left in that state. You know, the jury's seen all that. The older girl claimed to have a personality disorder, and claimed that she didn't think that anyone could die except from cancer or a serious illness. Luckily, it wasn't believed, it wasn't bought by the jury whatsoever. The younger girl went for more of not normal, what's the word I'm looking for, more of an obvious defence. She didn't do it. She was too busy on her phone and putting the Snapchat pictures up and everything else. She didn't actually touch Angie. That was her defence, basically. Both blaming each other, but a lot of blame going on Scarlett, the older girl from Galway. Remember me saying, the 13-year-old, she sounds very clever. Now, this girl, it said, didn't come from that bad an upbringing. Not like Girlie, who, like I said, very violent home, an awful upbringing. No excuse, I'm just saying. Galway didn't have that. It sounds like she was just a very nasty, manipulative, vile little girl. And I will say, little girl, she was 30. Well, her defence wasn't bought either, you know, saying she had nothing to do with it. Everything was there. All the evidence was there that they were both involved. There was blood over both of them. And plus, there was no remorse shown. There was no guilt. There was no panic of what they'd done. You know, the jury heard the phone call to the police. These girls weren't bothered about what they'd done. They were only scared now because they got caught. So on the 5th of April 2016, quite rightfully, they were both found guilty. Given life with a minimum of 15 years. Now, I'm hoping that is a minimum, and that, you know, it's hard because they are so young, and there is, you know, a mixed bag of whether their names should have been withheld, or, you know, a lot of people think they should have been named and shamed for when they get out. You know, they deserve to have to start their life on the outside with people knowing what they did. And obviously you've got some people who are dead against that because of their age. But, you know, 15 years, the youngest one will be 28. The oldest one will be 29. You know, they can have a full life. They're 10 years younger than when they get out than the woman they killed. I don't know how I feel about this one. You know, like I say, the stories that I do where a child has been hurt and murdered, you know, they're very, very hard to talk about. But this is very hard to talk about as well, because it's the other end of the scale, and it's still a child. But to know what that child's capable of, just like Joshua Davis, who is 16, you know, to know they're capable of violence like that, it does make you think, should they get out? Because if they're capable at that age, what are they going to be capable of as years go on? And because of the anonymous order, they could live next door to you. You would never know. You would never, ever know. So, yeah, if you want to drop a comment in the box about that, I'd be quite interested to know your views on it. It's a bit of a odd one, that one. I suppose there's arguments for and against, really. But yeah, that was my story of Angela Wrightson, and thank you again for joining me. It'd be lovely if you could subscribe too, and drop a comment in, and I will put a link in the box. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me again. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. I am going. I'm doing it again. I'm so sorry.